Well, hello and welcome back to BOOMXBEAUTYBEAT. My name is Laura and you are part of the Ultimate Transformation Plan 777 series, where I am taking different topics and transforming your life in the 21 videos I create. So we did weight loss before this, and now we're doing finding your true love, and we'll be moving on to more topics. There'll be something in this year for you that will blow your mind, I'm sure. I'm a transformation coach and expert because guess what? I've had everything happen to me and I've transformed it all. And I can tell you how I did each and every topic. But today we're talking about the next date of the Dating Detective series, and what we're doing with that is 7 dates, and I'm explaining what happened on each date and the pros and the cons with each one. And today is a Millionaire Big Boss. And I will explain why we called him that and who he is and what happened on the dates. So you guys know I am all about dating with intention, and this was a funny one. I'm going to explain what happened. So this was the one person that I found intriguing, that for whatever reason, the only person caught my eye that I had just sent a message to, or I like, or something like that, because I found his profile to be strong and confident and interesting and had something to say, and you know, I could tell there's intelligence there and all that good stuff. So I just sent a quick like or whatever I did, and he came back with a ridiculously cool response. And in my profile, I don't know if you guys remember, if you haven't watched it, go back in the videos, because I do reveal my complete profile, and in my profile I talk about my favorite number. If you've read all the way to the end of this, my favorite number is 3, and Big Boss, we'll call him, he is sharp as anything and got a wit to him. And so basically in the responses he had listed out 3 reasons why I should date him because of the 3 thing, and that made me laugh. And it won him a date with the Sicilian spicy lady. And here's what happened. So we just know Millionaire Big Boss is not going to do anything small and normal. So basically what had happened was he invited me to dinner, okay, fine, dinner, but I guess to impress, right? Took me to invited me to a very exclusive club. You have to be like a, you know, I don't want to say Illuminati, but kinda. It's like where queens and princes go, and they have private clubs. It's like when you see the movie Out of Africa and they go in the smoking room and all of that, like very wooden, fancy, you know, super guarded, can't get in, need to know, have to have memberships, all of that stuff. And like very strict dress codes as well. And so when he invited me, he had let me know that, you know, there's going to be a dress code, and he acted kind of humble, but I knew what he was doing. So I'm like, I love dress codes, no problem here, because I'm a glam up girl. So I'm going to tell you about this private club. With the city that I'm in, our downtown area is kind of like hard to fandangle parking, so I got a cab to get there. And I said, do you know where this private club is? Have you heard of it? He's going, you're going there? You're going to that private club? I'm like, yeah, it's a first date, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to this club. And I have to give a special name at the front and all of these things. I thought I'd have to memorize a secret handshake, for crying out loud. Anyway, it was quite something to walk into this place, and you have to get escorted to Mr. Big's table. We'll call him Mr. Big in this video because I love that from Sex and the City, so we'll call him Mr. Big. Anyway, escorted to the restaurant area where he was sitting in his very confident state. Now, Mr. Big is slightly bigger man, not big, but slightly bigger. I don't mind that. A little extra cush or cuddle factor doesn't bother me none. Anyway, I like it. So it didn't bother me. Anyway, he saw me, and I'm not sure if if the pictures again are gonna match the person. And you know, I was dressed in it. I didn't wear it today. Just a black, simple black, elegant dress, and simple, dressed up earrings and stuff like that. Simple but classy, because I knew that's what the game required, and that's what I did. And I think he had a little jolt in him when he saw me, because I fit the bill for walking into this date, I guess. So that's check one for going into a date like something like this, is you've got to fit the bill. Otherwise you've lost the game before you've even started at the starting gate. So there's that. So once you get past the fact that, okay, you guys can look at each other and it's not horrible, then you can go on to talking further. He was especially interested in what I did for work and for a living, and my concept, because in his current career, what he was doing is he is a coach for coaches. So he was very, very worldly and well known, and is a leader of leaders. And in that position, you've got to have some confidence, okay? Because you've got people who are already confident leaders, and you're leading those people. And his story was very, very interesting. He had a chain of training facilities that he had sold off. He had made lots of money with that, but and was being paid very well for the consulting work that he was doing of coaching coaches. And I basically was presenting myself as a transformation coach. That's what I do on this channel. And he was very interested in that, and that's where he's comfortable, is talking about business and all of that. So I talked some about that, and we'll go more into it. I was upfront with him at the dinner that I did go through a dramatic weight loss. I did a major transformation physically, but also I've had so much happen to me in my life mentally as well. And he was very impressed and fascinated with my ability to transform, and how I've turned that into my life's work. And so that first day, the dinner went well, but the hilarious thing is that he was really interested in presenting me with a great tasting meal. And I always, I tend to fish and vegetables, and I think he ordered the same, although I don't think that's what he wanted to eat. I think he could have done a steak and potatoes without a problem. He has a little bit of an accent coming from another country, and Ireland, and so he has that little bit of an Irish accent, which I thought was kind of neat. I like that, and yet interesting name. Needless to say, it was a good first dinner. Very, very nice, very good dinner. And I took a cab there, and I knew all about him. I knew about his company name. I knew where he's from and all this stuff. I felt comfortable, and he offered me a ride home in his Alfa Romeo, which was something it was really a nice car. I mean, so was the Tesla, but yeah, I think he also wanted me to see his car and impress me. He did also take me on a tour of the club itself. It's a pill, okay? Rich man's, playground, I guess. Needless to say, he definitely was smitten by the time of the end of the date. Enough, definitely wanted to go on another date, and I'll tell you about the next one that I had kind of facilitated in a way, because sometimes I like to show my side too. And so the next date, I organized just an outdoor thing where I made some food, like a picnic, and I'll tell you what happened. So a picnic can be, it's a make or breaker, and I like using them when I'm unsure of a person's motivations. And if a person's got longer term intentions with you, a picnic is a good idea. I think there's something down to earth about picnics that that break a guy down, that soften their heart, that'll make them come clean with what their intentions are. And they're not going to kind of dingle you around if you come with your best foot forward, your honesty, and your wholesomeness and your good intentions. It's kind of like kryptonite to a player, in a way. Or if a person has player-like intentions, or intentions that are purely physical or whatever, because it's like you're showing a girl next door aspect, and it makes it a lot harder for them to play any games with you because you're showing such pure and wholesome intentions. And I like using the picnic where I feel it's like a magic card to pull out. So just keep that one in mind. The picnic, if you're not sure, plan it, make the food, and it'll reduce them down to mush, and they'll have to get honest with you, and I love doing that. I also like the picnic because it puts you on the ground, and it gives you a groundedness that you cannot deny because you're on the earth. And good talks always happen, and we had a really good and honest discussion, and you really brought up some upfront things. I think both of us were like, okay, we're both pretty confident people-ish. Let's just put our cards on the table. What are you looking for? What am I looking for? I was completely upfront about my desire. I'm not, I only do physical things when I'm in a committed relationship. I'm not going to like dingle-dangle myself about town. It's just not what I do. And to me, physicality is attached to the emotions that I feel. I don't just do the act because it feels good. That's just, to me, a cop-out. You got to work your stuff into that. And I know that's not how men think. And basically, he told me his preferences in that department, and I don't mind if people are open about what they like and what they don't like and stuff like that. That's cool. I'd rather have communication than none at all. All right. So we went and had a talk about that, and that was a good experience. And there was attraction for sure. But my concern was, this Mr. Big had somebody to do everything for him. Okay. Cleaners, he had assistants for cleaning, assistants for a schedule, assistants for getting his shopping done, assistants for cooking, assistants for getting his dry cleaning, assistants for everything. Like, I don't even know how many assistants this person had. There was a lot. So, as far as my role would be to look pretty and to make him feel like a big boss. And big bosses do like a person that has a mind, has confidence, but also, in a way, can be controlled in certain aspects because they want to retain that big boss status. And I had to think carefully about that as well on my end of it. And so I had to present myself on my needs because I'm not going to be dominated in a way that makes me uncomfortable. I like a little bit of a man who's got leadership. Yes, I don't want to be leading because I'm strong and I can. But that is not a turn on for a strong woman. A strong woman needs an even stronger man to kind of like, in my opinion, because we need to have that feeling of femininity. We can't always be in our masculine power. So again, after the second date, it's kind of a come to Jesus moment in each and every one of these experiences that I'm having from further on, because I don't want to waste my time. So first date, get to know. Second date, put it on the table. I'm not playing. We're older. Like, you get the gist. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's what I need you to be. Are you that? Are you ready? Is this you? Blah, 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 blah. And anybody with enough upfrontness will come to. And so I could tell by the third if we were going to go for a third date, we had to kind of have that like little discussion. Where's your head at? Where's your head at? Where's your head at? So we had that text moment. And I'm going to let you know now about the pros and cons, and it'll give you hints as to what happened in the text, so stay tuned. So let's go into the pros and cons of Mr. Big Boss, okay? Mr. Big, pros. What I really liked about Mr. Big is that he understood the concept of transformation, mindset, goal setting. I loved his entrepreneurial side again. That stuff sticks with me, and you know, goals. He was really good at going for them. That was awesome. So that was one check pro for Mr. Big. Also, very good communicator. Excellent. I guess as a trainer of a trainer, you have to know how to communicate. So you're teaching people how to communicate to their clients. So he had that down, and wow, was that refreshing. Love that about Mr. Big. And another thing about him is that I found him to be upfront and honest. However that was going to sit with me, I was refreshing. There was no fear about telling me like it is. And I love that, because I don't like having to like always crack open the can. It is annoying and tiring. Say it like it is, be upfront, and have the balls to do it. And that's, to me, a definite pro. So we're going to give him those 3 pros, you know, for check marks. All right, so we're going to go into the cons. So in talking to Mr. Big, I definitely found that there was a deep unhappiness once I dug a little bit further, that there was a real desire to break free from the trappings of being in like a workaholic situation where you're addicted to the money, but you no longer really want that. But you want the money, but you really don't want to be doing what you're doing because you're getting drained. I could see his battery was very drained, to the point of exhaustion. Everybody's coming to him for advice. Everyone's coming. People having to work and do coaching to people is just a draining experience altogether. And I could see the drain in him. Drained. So that's a con, because you're not dealing with somebody who's actually enjoying what they're doing anymore. They're doing it for the buck, and that is a con. So we're going to go into the next 2. I could tell also that, you know, in a sense, he was living a lie. So what he was saying out of his mouth every day and presenting out of his mouth every day, he was not living authentically. Like a lot of the people that he was coaching were health coaches and fitness coaches and things like that, and his physical body was not in the same condition that he wanted it to be, and felt like he was being disingenuous, saying how you just need to do this in order to get that, and if you're not living that, then how can you make that your living? And I could tell that that was bothering him to the core, and that was kind of a major issue, and he reflected that in some of the talks that we had, and also in the email that he had given me. So because he was living unauthentically and had some deep unhappiness with his day-to-day, even though he had the millions, even though he had the help, even though he had all that, he did not have time freedom, and he was not living an authentic life for himself. And so underneath this, you know, rah, build everyone else up facade, he was not feeling built up within himself. And so in that was performing acts in his life to show dominance and control, because he felt quite out of control in his life. And that can reflect in many ways, like what your preferences are with your physical connections, with your romantic connections, how that needs to look, how that needs to feel, because you're not feeling that worthiness. And he had the self-awareness to know that about himself, and to know that that needs to be worked on. And that is something, but it doesn't negate the fact that there does need to be that work there. And so that was a con, because he wasn't coming to the table emotionally ready to give. He was starved in his life of time, of satisfaction, of bliss, of fulfillment. It was all about money, and money doesn't fill you up, guys. It doesn't fill you up. But he was looking for fill-ups in places that weren't really filling him up. And he did reveal that he was drinking to toxic levels per day to kind of help fill that as well. Although he would be presenting himself as a completely functional drinker, because he wouldn't look drunk or act drunk. But, you know, you could sip a couple bottles of wine all throughout the day just to get through it, even though you're hating every minute of it. And that is not what you want. You want somebody who is feeling really fulfilled inside and happy. So a quick recap. We're going to give him the pros for Mr. Big, Mr. Big Boss. Understanding, he understood transformation. He understood mindset. He understood goals. That was amazing. Very good communicator as well, number 2. And upfront and honest, number 3. Love that about him. The cons were focused on money over happiness. Not good. Living a lie inside. Really deeply unhappy with his day-to-day, but not wanting to reveal that. And because of the deep unhappiness, he was presenting with controlling or toxic behaviors in his life to try to get control outside himself, where the control needs to be within, and you need some kind of connection to source. And I don't think he had any spirituality really within him, although that is, everybody does, they just aren't digging for it. And that was letting him lead an unauthentic existence, and led him to deep unhappiness. He saw, even though I didn't have the same income or money as him, I was confident and completely happy in my skin. I had done the work on myself, and I was a threat. And who would have thunk it, right? Little me. I mean, little me with Mr. Big, and I'm threatening him. Bizarro world. But I wanted to tell you guys that dating experience, because I found that one very interesting, and I had a lot of growth from understanding those things. But I will let you know who I ended up with at the end of the series, so don't forget to stay tuned for that, and come back for the last date. I'll tell you about that in the next video. Thank you for joining me. I hope this has helped you. So what I'm trying to do with these is break down, analyze, do pros and cons to help you with your process, so that when you're dating, you can do something similar, so that you go back to yourself and you resonate within yourself, and you don't get dissuaded by flashy behavior or love bombing or all the things, and you come back to self, come back to core, and make sure that everything is feeling authentic and real to you, and that you're proceeding in the right way with the right kind of motivation. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.